against the enemy. Attacks on the south of the Zaporizhia region, plunging the region there into blackouts, the destruction of two key railway lines in the Bryansk region. These are not just coincidences. Former spokesman for the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, retired Colonel, military expert Vladislav Zeleznev explained that certain preventive activities are currently being carried out to complicate the logistics of the Russian army as much as possible. This significantly delays their advance. One of the key factors influencing the pace of resource transfer is the stable functioning of the railway service. If relay cabinets burn, bridges and overpasses are destroyed, there is a significant delay in the movement of military cargo, he says in an interview with Glavred. Zeleznev explains that logistics is the movement of resources. No resources, no progress on the battlefield. You can't transport much by road or air. It's too slow and expensive. The most effective way to move military resources is by rail. And if it doesn't work reliably, it significantly slows down the enemy's combat logistics, Zeleznev says. The expert also reminds that currently, about 30% of the territory of Donetsk region is still under our control, and the key largest settlements also remain under our control. Therefore, the Russians are trying to take them under their control, but the Ukrainian armed forces are disrupting the enemy's plans. Recently, explosions caused 2 bridges to collapse and derailed 2 trains in Western. In one of the incidents, 7 people were killed and dozens were injured. The first bridge in the Bryansk region on the border with Ukraine collapsed on top of a passenger train on Saturday, causing the casualties. The train's driver was among those killed, state-run Russian railways said. Hours later, officials said a second train derailed when the bridge beneath it collapsed in the nearby Kursk region, which also borders Ukraine. In that collapse, a freight train was thrown off its rails onto the road below as the explosion collapsed the bridge, local acting governor Alexander Kinstein said. The crash sparked a fire, but there were no casualties, he said.
Khaby Lame, the world's most popular TikTok personality with millions of followers, has left the U.S. after being detained by immigration agents in Las Vegas for allegedly overstaying his visa. According to Associated Press, the Senegalese-Italian influencer, whose legal name is Seringa Khaby Lame, was detained Friday at Harry Reid International Airport but was allowed to leave the country without a deportation order, a spokesperson for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirmed in a statement. Lame arrived in the U.S. on April 30 and overstayed the terms of his visa, the ICE spokesperson said. The Associated Press sent a message seeking comment Tuesday to the email address listed on Lame's Instagram account. He has not publicly commented on his detainment. His detainment and voluntary departure from the U.S. comes amid President Donald Trump's escalating crackdown on immigration, including raids in Los Angeles that sparked days of protests against ICE, as the president tests the bounds of his executive authority. A voluntary departure, which was granted to Lame, allows those facing removal from the U.S. to avoid a deportation order on their immigration record, which could prevent them from being allowed back into the U.S. for up to a decade. The 25-year-old rose to international fame during the pandemic without ever saying a word in his videos, which would show him reacting to absurdly complicated life hacks. He has over 162 million followers on TikTok alone. The Senegal-born influencer moved to Italy when he was an infant with his working-class parents and has Italian citizenship. His internet fame quickly evolved. He signed a multi-year partnership with designer brand Hugo Boss in 2022. In January, he was appointed as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. Last month, he attended the Met Gala in New York City, days after arriving in the U.S.
Bobby, looking great, man. What are you wearing?
If you don't mind stepping forward a little bit and then turn to your side this way, sir.
Is it a front?
And come all the way back, sir.
On your white. On your white.
And can you turn this way all the way?
Thank you.
Is it possible for Vladimir Putin to be eliminated by his entourage? This question is being asked more and more often, especially in the context of a protracted war and economic pressure. Telegraph media outlet turned to the artificial intelligence Grok to model a list of people who theoretically have not only the motive, but also the opportunity to try to eliminate the Russian president. 3 key people came into focus. Sergei Shoigu, former Russian defense minister and current secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Shoigu has been one of Putin's closest allies for many years. His position, military influence, and control over the army make him a figure who can act in the event of an internal crisis, especially if his own power or Russia's stability is at risk. Dossier: Sergei Kuzugetovich Shoigu is an army general, a hero of Russia, former head of the Ministry of Emergency Situations, and from 2012 to 2024, the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation. Born in Tuva, he has a degree in construction, but is known as the architect of a gigantic propaganda machine built around the Russian army. He has been wanted internationally for war crimes in Ukraine since 2024. Shoigu is suspected of large-scale embezzlement of the military budget. The family owns elite real estate and the daughters own luxury businesses. Nikolai Patrushev, former secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation and one of the main ideologists of the Russian power vertical. Patrushev is an FSB veteran who has serious levers of influence on the military services, part of the military and the Kremlin's administrative machine. Artificial intelligence believes that Patrushev may act if he considers that Putin's actions are harmful to Russia's long-term interests. Born in Leningrad since 1975 in the KGB system, headed the FSB in 1999 to 2008, was Secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation until 2024. Known for his imperial policy, support for the war in Ukraine, and conspiracy theories about the West, Patrushev has been mentioned in investigations into the poisoning of Litvinenko and drug smuggling through Russian diplomatic channels. His son, Dmitry, is the current Russian Minister of Agriculture and a member of the Gazprom board. Alexander Bortnikov, Director of the FSB since 2008. His long tenure has ensured complete control over the country's main intelligence agency. According to artificial intelligence, a conspiracy could be brewing within the FSB and Bortnikov could become part of it. Born in Perm, graduated from an engineering institute and since 1975 worked in state security agencies. He headed the FSB of St. Petersburg and then became the director of the entire structure. He has the rank of Army General, numerous state and foreign awards. In 2020, he was sanctioned by the EU for poisoning Navalny, and since 2022, he has been under restrictions by the US, Canada, Ukraine, and other countries for supporting a full-scale Russian invasion. Artificial intelligence emphasized that the probability of Putin being eliminated by his entourage remains extremely low, given the tight control, mistrust within the security forces, and fear of the consequences. At the same time, in the event of a serious internal crisis, these individuals could become figures capable of influencing a change of power.